Good evening. My name is Rob Gruhl. I am the manager of the serverless technology team at Nordstrom.
I'm Erik, and I'm one of the engineers on the serverless team.
So our journey in serverless started about 18 months ago at Nordstrom because we were fascinated with the potential of Lambda. So we created a proof of concept. That proof of concept turned into a split test. That split test ended up being very successful and profitable. So based on that, we started iterating and experimenting and kind of stumbling our way towards a variety of different patterns. So today we're going to share with you a little bit about what we've learned at a high level. So there's two major patterns that we've been exploring. The first pattern is this real-time streaming pattern where we establish a stream of user events, in many cases around tens of millions a day, to Kinesis. Then we use a variety of different Lambda functions to process that stream and store the results and the insights into DynamoDB, Redshift, and S3. So we have several different versions of this working in production today on different systems. The second one is one that you guys have seen a lot of today. This is basically API gateway invoking Lambdas, and then those Lambdas interact with fully managed services like Managed Elasticsearch and DynamoDB. So in building these systems, and now at Nordstrom with a number of other teams also working on serverless-based features both in development and in production, we've noticed some commonalities.
As soon as you start exploding your systems and breaking them up into all the various component pieces, you then have a combinatorial explosion of all the relationships to manage between them and keep track of. We saw this at Reinvent. We adopted it, and it saved our bacon. Basically, it allows you to define your system once, to then stamp it out over your different accounts, regions, and environments. And that saved us a lot of time and effort.
All right, so after all this time playing with all these tools, what do we love? Well, we've spent a lot of time writing a very small amount of code, and our hope and aspiration in now having a team at Nordstrom that's dedicated to this is to figure out how we can spend a small amount of time writing a small amount of code. It's great to be in a review and think to myself, I'm just presenting one configuration file and 4 functions, and everyone seems to be pretty impressed. I just have to convince Erik not to mention that. So. The availability has been pretty excellent. It requires hard work to reduce that. We're up to the challenge, however, and have managed to mess things up a few times. Our lower environments are free, and they're production equivalent in terms of both scale and performance, so that's rather nice. Performance tweaking, whether it's done through Lambda power or just code optimization, is easy and profitable. Tweaking your Lambda functions so that your average time drops just below 100 millisecond boundary can save you a bunch of money. Finally, we like the fact that there's fine-grained permissions. Our Lambdas invoke, our API gateways will invoke a single method, a single Lambda per method, and that Lambda is permissioned only to do one thing. So it either reads from a DynamoDB or writes to a DynamoDB and nothing else.
Nothing's perfect. One of the challenges is account limits. So you can have a certain number of Lambdas running per account, and if somebody writes a bug and creates a bunch of them, then production goes down. That happened. Mm-hmm. We love the VPC. We don't like a performance hit when we use it. We love the serverless framework. It is wonderful, and we would be lost without it, which is to say that any serverless system is going to require a system management tool set. Occasional latency issues. The extremes are extreme. Everybody notices the 7-second response because they have a lot of opportunity. And end-to-end debugging. You can get a reasonably good vertical picture of your system and what's going wrong or good for one service, but as soon as you're trying to span across it, it gets hard to compose.
So what we'd like to see, anytime we get another aspect of Lambda or API Gateway explained to us, it helps us write better code and ship better features.
Yeah, we would like to have blue-green or something a little more sophisticated.
Mm-hmm. Erik mentioned debugging and troubleshooting. It's sometimes difficult when you have a multi-step system and something goes wrong to understand exactly where that happened.
We work hard to build trust, and any knowledge we can gain to help us with that, fantastic.
And then we watch the AWS Lambda blog a lot. We talk to as many people as we can about this because the more documentation, the more best practices, the better for us. So we're here this week to talk to you, to understand what you're doing. We're here because we're passionate about serverless. Based on the work that we've done over the last 18 months, we have the privilege now of forming a team within Nordstrom to explore what works and what doesn't, where it's appropriate to apply serverless across our entire enterprise. So we're hiring. We'd love to talk to you about that.
Also, if you have any clever solutions to our challenges, we would love to hear about them or any smart things we ought to level up on. Thank you.
Thank you.